Hello, this is Savage Jim, and I am going to talk about the M1911 series pistols. Here I have a shop manual written by Jerry Kuhnhausen. I presume that this is a book that is owned by pretty much any gunsmith worth their salt. I'm not a professional gunsmith, so I wouldn't know, but as far as this manual goes, I've learned a ton about 1911 pistols. This is a typical 1911 pistol. This specific pistol is made by Springfield Armory. This particular model is the 1911 A1. The 1911 pistols were probably developed as early as the late 1800s by John Browning, and did not come together as a functioning pistol probably up until 1909, and did not enter service and adopted by the military until the year 1911, thus the designation M1911. The production history of the 1911 is actually very diverse, starting with the government contracts from 1911 up until the present. The military contract has been carried forth up until possibly the late 90s, at which time the 1911 and 1911 A1s were phased out in favor of the M9 9mm Berettas. Surprisingly, the 1911 pistols are very simple in design. Not a lot of parts to a firearm. In Kuhnhausen's book, this is a chapter on the illustration, including illustrations on the cycling of the firing of the weapon. As you can see, here is a cutaway view of the pistol itself. When charging the weapon, at the top illustration, you can see that the back of the slide, which houses the firing pin and extractor, pushes on the rear of a cartridge, a .45 shell. You can see it's rotated up a little bit as the nose hits the feed ramp, and it is positioned to be loaded into the chamber. In this next illustration over here, this is the loading of the cartridge itself into the chamber. Up here, let me get a good focus if I may. Those are your locking lugs on the top of the barrel and the underside of the slide. The locking lugs are mismatched at the moment because the slide is in the rearward position, still moving forward, loading the shell into the firing chamber. In this next illustration, this is of course the locking phase. The slide is forward, the locking lugs are lined up, and the barrel is about to be pushed up into the fully locked position, ready for firing. The shell is already pushed forward all the way into the firing chamber. And of course the locking phase, this is the instant that the locking lugs on the top of the barrel and the underside of the slide fully engage. Trying to get the focus to remain, but it keeps cycling in and out. At this instant, the weapon is ready to fire. Of course, the firing phase. As the shell is fired, the bullet is pushed forward and the mass of the entire pistol is pushed backwards, an impulse momenta. The projectile leaves the barrel of the pistol, and the force is also pushed back onto the entire pistol. At a certain point, the pressure among the lugs drops to 0, in which case the lugs unlock and disengage. The barrel is pushed down slightly, rotated down slightly. Now the slide may proceed backwards, extracting the spent shell. And the spent brass is ejected at the instant that the slide reaches its full movement backwards. And the weapon, once again, is ready to cycle again and load another shell in the very same fashion. The caliber of the 1911 pistols standard is the 45 ACP, or .45 automatic Colt pistol. As you can see here on this Springfield Armory barrel, it is stamped into the top of the barrel here. SA .45 auto. On the other side, .45 caliber. This is a 45 ACP shell, 1 cartridge, ball round, full metal jacket, 230 grains. This particular shell is made by Winchester. I'm trying to get a focus here, but my camera refuses to cooperate. Large pistol primer. Fits into a handle well magazine. This particular one, I believe, is a 8-round magazine. The military standard magazine for 1911 pistols is a 7-round magazine. These are the basic functions of the Colt 1911 pistols, 1911 and 1911 A1 pistols, not just Colt but Springfield, Remington, and any other manufacturers which are based on the 1911 design. Over here you have a slide stop to keep the slide open in the open position for loading. The slide stop to release is pushed down to allow the slide forward to either load the weapon or move the slide back forward into closed position, locked position. Standard to all 1911 pistols is the flip up safety. Push up, the weapon does not fire. Push down, weapon's ready to fire. In addition, there is a grip handle safety. As you can see, this depresses in and out. You have to hold it in. The reason being is, without holding this in, it's a secondary safety device. If this is not depressed, the hammer does not fall. In order for the hammer to fall, both the grip safety must be depressed and the flip safety must be in the firing position, in the down position, which allows the hammer to fall at the pull of a trigger. The typical pull for the military grade spec issued 1911s and 1911 A1 is approximately about a 5-pound pull. I believe the competition pistols are touched up and modified to approximately a 4.5, maybe 4-pound pull. Somebody would comment below and regarding that pull weight, please let me know. I'm not fully enlightened on that. This is your typical iron sights mounted onto your service grade 1911 pistols. forward sight mounted on the front of the slide. This particular one has 3 dots. It's a 3-dot sight system here. I don't know if you can see that forward one, but the forward blade does have a has an aiming dot with it as well. Have your magazine release. To release the magazine, to press this button here. As with all 1911 magazines, this has a special catch on it, so that as you're firing the weapon, once you reach the last round and you expend your last round, the magazine catch automatically causes the slide to stay in the locked open position. It's meant to facilitate the ease of reloading, so that once you load another full magazine, just press down on the slide release, slide slams forward, loads the next shell. This concludes my video on the M1911 and 1911A1 pistols. If you enjoyed this video, please comment below and like. Thank you.